This is a place for transparency, wisdom, laughter, and biblical principles that strengthen relationships. We're honored to have you here. Let's get into today's conversation. Let's get into Let's get into today's conversation. Hey, and welcome back to our channel. I'm Pastor Rashida, and who are you?
I don't know. I'm just the guy that sits next to you while you do these videos. Apostle Mac here. What's going on, y'all?
And welcome back to Love and Bars, where love represents the heart and bars represents the truth. Thank you for tuning into our channel. We've been together for 21 years and married for almost 16 years. And this space was created to have real conversations about kingdom marriage, healing, growth, and what it truly takes to build and sustain covenant. This is a place for transparency, wisdom, laughter, and biblical principles that strengthen relationships. We're honored to have you here. Let's get into today's conversation. So what is our topic today?
5 communication killers that destroy relationships. I really feel, as my wife was researching this week on certain topics and things that we should do, that we dive into communication. So let's dive into this conversation tonight of 5 communication killers that destroy relationships. So we got 5 things we want y'all to take notes on, or 5 things you can refer back to, because you're gonna like this. Let's go to point number 1. One is listening to respond instead of listening to understand.
I think that is a major one, because a lot of times we don't hear what the other person is saying because we're already on the defense, because we want to defend and explain whatever we said, however we said, or whatever happened. We don't want to be in the wrong. So we want to justify whatever was done and whatever said, not realizing how that is harming and hurting the other person that is trying to say whatever hurt them, whatever bothered them, or not even that, just even communicating about their day.
One key thing is going to be making sure you know what you heard. Because depending on where your filter is, because sometimes we filter things through past emotions, past happenings, and we automatically go to that space where, oh, I know what she meant. Right. Or I know what he meant when he said this. And when he says this is how that normally goes.
Right.
So you don't give a person a chance, which is normally this kind of stuff chokes out the benefit of doubt.
Yeah.
So, you don't give that person that opportunity because you've already prejudged that dry text or, whatever it is. I think that one of the major things that we gotta push and tell you guys is that a relationship starts breaking when a person feels that they're not heard.
Yep. Like, why even talk?
Yeah. And so a lot of listen, I don't have a justification for what I'm about to say. I don't justify anything, but from watching the shows and watching and listening to people, a lot of people end up tipping out when they don't feel heard.
Right.
They say,
"Oh, that's the first thing that's being said.
So and so listen to me because you don't listen, and such was an ear to me.
Ear, yes.
To me, like listen to this. The snake wanted Eve's ear too.
Yeah.
To drop that. That one little word.
It
only takes one little word. That can mess up and destroy a whole lot of stuff. When someone is always preparing a defense instead of listening, frustration and distance grows.
Yes, it can. You shut down. You don't want to talk. Because why talk when you're not even trying to listen or hear what I'm saying or understand what I'm saying?
For my Bible, Bible thumpers, my Bible believers, right? James 1:19 says, "Let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath." Proverbs 18:13, he that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it is folly. and shame unto him.
Yep. And I think you also had said before too that one of the things that you should ask a person is, what did you hear?
Yeah, you got to, because it's important because you possibly didn't hear what I said. You heard what you wanted to hear, or you heard your own interpretation of what I said.
Right.
Real communication requires patience. If I'm not hearing you fully, I'm already failing in the conversation. 2 is assumptions replacing real conversation.
Now my daddy used to say something about assumptions. Y'all can put that together. My daddy said something about assumptions.
Yeah, I get it. I think assumptions are dangerous because assumptions normally put you in a place of the last thing you remember.
Yes, the last thing that you remember about a person, not realizing that the person may have evolved, may have changed, because we should constantly be new people.
Yeah, and so I should have grown from my last mistake.
My last mistake.
The last thing I didn't hear, or the last thing, however I processed
However
or
responded, whatever.
Or if I haven't grown from it, I should be in the process of being better about it. So it's
recognizing it sooner.
Yeah, so it shouldn't be the same thing. So I can't assume that the person's automatically going to react or respond. Well, of course, because normally it's a reaction, not a response. The same way that they did the last time. And then again, that's why I was saying in point number, when we were talking about the point number 1 about benefit of the doubt. That's where a lot of that lies. Because many relationships are damaged when people assume intention instead of asking for clarity. And I don't know how you feel about that, but I think one of the things that we grew to was to ask what we meant by something.
What we meant by that. And even times that we'll have conversations, especially through text message, because we may not know. I'll say something, and then it's just like, wait, hey, did she mean this one way? Because at one point I might have meant it, or how it may have came off, but another time I'm like, oh no, I meant that as a joke. And it's just like, okay, well, let's try a different way, but I won't get upset or have that response of how I would normally had until I find out what you meant by it.
Yeah, and we're just honest. Normally it's too late. Like, oh, I was just joking. I'm just joking is after a person's already processed their own personal emotions, and the joke ain't a joke. It's just so like it just,
especially when there's no LOL behind it, no laughing emoji. It's just boom, what it is.
And I think sometimes we end up patting the other person because it's like we didn't mean for it to go that route, and now it went a route,
and then we're trying to soften the blow.
Yeah, so so we gotta have to definitely be careful because assumptions create offenses that may not even be real. And so that's why I don't think we talk about assumptions enough in relationships. So Proverbs 18:2 says, "A fool hath no delight in understanding, but that his heart may discover itself." John 7:24 says, "Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment." And so, assumptions can often also be petty.
Okay, expound.
Because my assumption about you could be concerning the thing that you're possibly working on, or the place that you need to be better on, and then I make an assumption out of a space to hurt you. Because sometimes when you in your own feelings, you want a person to know where you are or where you want them to be. And sometimes where they want them to be ain't where they actually are. Right. And it comes out petty. So it's like, if I'm developing this thing, I'm working on this thing, you're like, well, if you would have, or what I think you meant is, so I make this assumptive thing that jugs you, but gives me a secure space.
Right, and that's dangerous.
A guard to hide behind.
Yeah.
So when we assume, you stop pursuing understanding. Healthy relationships ask before they accuse.
And even you stop pursuing understanding as you don't want to understand, because your mind, you're already set on what it is, what you think it is.
For sure.
So now we're on to point number 3. And point number 3 is harsh tone and disrespectful delivery.
Yo, talk to him.
Why you tell me to talk to him?
Yeah, you talk to him.
Harsh tone and disrespectful delivery. It is possible to say something true in such a wrong way that the truth gets lost in the damage. With however you're feeling, with whatever your frustration is, you feel all of that with what was said. Oh, yeah. And how it's said. I know that even when we teach our daughter, one thing I tell Rue is it's not what you said, it's how you said it. The delivery is what matters. Tone matters. Again, delivery matters, and respect matters.
And like we give y'all a personal seat, into our lives, and I think that's where me and her are different, majorly at. Now she can tell me about my tone, but I can't tell her about her tone.
He lied.
Because now her delivery is always going to be dry, and she say what she feel at that moment, and there ain't no doubling back behind it. Here's the thing that I had to realize is that I could not expect her to change her delivery because oftentimes the way I received it. There are times when a person can give a bad delivery, but how you received it, which is now how I got to communicate how I received that back away, not to keep it going. Because bad delivery normally comes with defense.
Yeah. The person feels attacked.
Yeah. So it's automatic when I'm like, she says it away and I come back, boom, it's going to be now we're into it. And reality is, where did this come from? Why are you saying it like this? Now, here's the thing. It does take the risk sometimes for a person to sometimes feel patronized. Sometimes a person feels away. And then you're like, oh, well, you just taking this away that it's not. Well, tell me why it's not. Yeah. Tell me where this is coming from. Tell me why you're saying it this way. And I think that sometimes our delivery becomes that way because there's some truth to what we're actually saying.
Yeah.
But dogma doesn't necessarily mean, or how do I want to word? Do I want to say it like that? No, I don't want to say. Sometimes we're dogmatic about truth. We do that in the word. We do that in the word.
They do.
People do that in the word. So they'd be like, oh, because God said, right?
Right.
And yes, God said it.
There's no
true.
Compassion there.
There we go.
There's no compassion there.
And so there has to be compassion. There has to be empathy. There has to be all these things that you have to exude for somebody that you really want to communicate your heart to.
Right.
And I think that that's where your delivery has to be. I don't want to say sharp. It needs to be not as sharp.
Not as sharp, but I also believe that there needs to be some thought behind what is said too, because a lot of times we want to get out what we have to say without thinking about, well, how is this going to come across to the person? Well, let me, fix it.
Yeah.
Scripture says in Proverbs 15:1, a soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. Ephesians 4:29 says, let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying. Colossians 4:6 says, let your speech be always with grace. Let your speech be always with grace.
Yeah, so you can be right and still be wrong in how you speak. Communication should build, not bruise. 4, avoiding hard conversations. Ignoring issues does not make it disappear.
No.
Silence can be a breeding ground for resentment, bitterness, and emotional separation. Have the hard conversations.
Ooh, yeah.
We've learned
it's hard, but you got to have them.
But and it doesn't always. Sometimes. Let me not say this. Depending on who you are, sometimes it can be immediate. Sometimes people have to grow there, because, I will come back to it in another space. But not all the time. Not every time you get into a relationship is there automatic trust there. Sometimes people are building trust while they're together.
Yeah,
and
that's
so,
true.
And so not all people, I don't care who people, if they're just honest, some people learn to trust their person after they're already with them.
Yeah.
And so that means that sometimes where there is no trust, there can't be the hard conversations. Because the person doesn't feel secure in the thought. Doesn't feel
secure enough for me to be able to talk to you and express to you how I feel.
Yeah, and so
the safety's not there.
The safety isn't there because where there has to be hard conversations, there has to be a safety in knowing you're saying this for my betterment.
Yes.
You're
And
saying this from a good place.
from a good place, and I'm trusting and are believing that your response to me is going to be safe.
Yeah. So that the conversation can only be conversion if there's the right type of atmosphere in that too, because hard
Yes.
conversations require right atmospheres.
Right atmospheres, right.
So-
if you're already intense, if you're already on edge, it's not going to go anywhere.
No, it's not. So we do something that we implemented is we leave the house, because the house is normally the site of the argument.
It is.
Being at home is normally the place where you argue, you say things. That's normally that place. So it's best that you leave home, because home again is a site of where our normal arguments are. So we go get coffee. We go get coffee randomly after we both had time to process. We don't try to talk to each other while you're mad, while you're angry, and all of that. Hard conversations can never happen during those moments.
No.
Nor can you convey your heart to a person in those moments.
Right.
I think if you're not careful, you get everything out in a space where a person has actually closed their ears to be able to hear you.
Yep.
So just, you go, but you have to make sure that when you go, you have to be strategic. Your strategy should be that you've already made yourself accountable for your actions before trying to make them accountable for their
own actions.
And that should be a space where you can recognize what they've done, of course, but what you could have done better. Because at some point still, whether it's reception, whether it's filter, something we could have did better.
Absolutely.
Scripture says this, Ephesians 4:26 says, let not the sun go down upon your wrath. That means even anger has an expiration date.
Yep.
I'll stop there, right? Matthew 18:15, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. That's not just for your friend, that's for your marriage too.
Yeah.
That's for your relationship too. That's for
Yes.
you while you're in dating. It ain't just your brother. If you have an out with your brother, no, it ain't just no. Proverbs 27:5, open rebuke is better than secret love.
Open rebuke does not mean going out and blasting.
Yeah, it ain't that. It ain't that.
Publicizing what you did.
And open rebuke doesn't necessarily look like what you possibly think it looked like. It don't mean that you took the hammer to them.
Right.
Because a lot of people think the correction is always a hammer. No. It's not always a hammer. Avoidance is not peace. Sometimes avoiding the conversation is actually feeding the problem.
It is, because the thing is when you don't, before we learned that we had to have the real hard conversations, and our spiritual mother actually sat us down and was like, hey, write everything down and this is what's going to be. Yeah. And we had to, as uncomfortable and as hard as it was, after we actually had those real conversations, and we may have been upset once we walked away from the conversations, but then once we thought about it, we let a day pass and then we came back together. It's a relief. But when you don't have those hard conversations, it just like he said, it builds up. You start thinking about things, and then you start putting your own stuff in there, and it just builds and it festers and it grows until it explodes.
Yeah. We're gonna let y'all go with 5.
Five is the last one.
Poor timing. And lack of emotional control. When people communicate out of anger,
yes,
exhaustion, pride, they often say things that they cannot take back.
Yep.
Emotional immaturity can ruin a necessary conversation.
Emotional immaturity.
Now, as crazy as this sounds, because people look at me like, man, I could be mean. Listen, when I tell y'all, it's different.
It is.
She the mean. She the mean.
I'm not.
She the mean. And her anger lasts longer than mine. She the mean one. And but we learned that we were raised different.
Yeah.
And I was raised where I didn't have nerves. I couldn't have certain emotions. It's just certain things that I couldn't possess, that I couldn't have. Because my parents were like, hey, you can't, and this was my respect for them. But I was always with my parents. So my respect for them translated into how I moved in life, which was, I'm not angry long. I just don't know how to be. I'm not wired to be. I forgive fast. I move on fast. And it's not that I'm tucking it away or nothing like that. She'll tell you. It's not like
my
I'm not.
process time is just a little bit longer.
Yeah. So like I possibly could get mad and then be like, say, well, what we eating? Are you
Literally,
hungry?
and it would irk my nerve. Like
Like, are
in
you
the
hungry?
same breath.
And so I think, but what we learned is to let her anger expire.
Yes.
Because again, when the Bible says don't let the sun go down on your anger, the purpose, because people be like, oh, don't you go to
Don't you
bed
go to
married.
bed
Well, you
upset?
don't go to bed, not don't you go to bed married. Boy, I just jacked that all up. But anyway, y'all just going, y'all good with that. Don't go to bed when you're married, mad at each other.
Yes.
But you shouldn't go to bed that way
Anyways.
in any
Yeah.
situation. At some point, you should have counseled God, even if it's not perfect. You should have counseled God to ease, counseled with God to have your emotions ease, so that you don't go to bed with emotions
That's high.
because you may not wake up.
You may not.
Do you hear me? And I don't think you think of love. You don't think enough about not waking up and you going to bed with poison in it. Because you may be mad, but the person you mad at may not know.
Right.
So
Going on about their day and
going
their
on about that.
business.
Or if you don't, check this out. Let's be brutally honest. You might actually wake up, but the person you mad at may not.
And then that's a whole lot that you carrying
That's
now.
a whole lot you carrying. Oh, I wish I could have, and I should have.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
So I give myself 24 hours. This is something that we practice and I learned. I said, hey, no matter, and not just in this, not in just a relationship, in the world of people. If I want to be mad at you versus tucking it away, I learned to be mad. And I started allowing myself to be mad because I realized it's not about anger, it's what anger does to me or what anger makes me do. So I began to process, learn it, embrace learning how to be mad, and not allowing my anger to be the thing that makes me attack other people. Because even biblically, when the spirit of anger came upon people, it was used in a certain way that was beneficial to God in times. Because anger has to be managed, not manipulated.
Ooh, that's good. That's good.
So the Bible tells us what in Proverbs 19 and 29:11.
A fool uttereth all his mind,
Come on.
but a wise man keepeth it in till afterwards.
Yep. Tell them what Ecclesiastes 3:7 says.
A time to keep silence and a time to speak.
Yep. And we'll give you Galatians 5:22-23.
Oh, yes. Speaks of the fruit of the Spirit, including
Self-control.
self-control.
Listen, not every moment is the right moment. Just because something needs to be said does not mean it needs to be said recklessly. So listen, man, the whole point of us giving you this and being with you is because God allowed us to conquer some things in communication. Communication in relationships is not just talking. And not just talking, it's body language. It's so much more than that. It's sometimes what you don't say with your words at all.
Yeah.
And that stuff matters. You come in the house and you're mad, and so your body, you didn't do it.
You're breathing.
Yeah, you're breathing. You didn't. You know about that, don't you?
I do.
So, it just throws all of that off. So, if we can encourage you, don't wait till you're married to start working on this stuff.
Nah, work on it now.
Work on this stuff now.
Right now.
Work on it now in your singleness. Work on how you hearing that. When you're in that dating process or you want to learn a person, you learn it.
Yeah.
What am I hearing? What did they just say? Did I process that right? Am I processing this from the last person that hurt me? So give yourself a chance by learning how to communicate.
Thank you for tuning in to Love and Bars.
For sure.
Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss an episode. Episodes air every Monday at 7 p.m. We appreciate you for being here, and we'll see you next time. Because Kingdom Marriage isn't perfect, it's intentional. This is
Love and Bars.
and Bars.